Hello friends, welcome to my channel and explore the world of Microsoft Azure. My name is Rajneesh Kaushik and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, consultant and an enterprise architect. For more latest videos and blogs, you can always log into my website rajneeshkaushik.com and subscribe to my blog. Please do not forget to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss the latest videos. Do like, share and comment. So, in today's session, we are going to discuss about Lakehouse Federation. It's a brand new concept, and it is very important concept because it helps you to merge the data lake side of it and data warehouse side of it, and it becomes a very formidable, um, very strong combination in today's digital age because data is powering from multiple directions, and you want to make sense of it without leaving the data. And there this Lakehouse Federation concept comes as a game changer because it helps you to optimize your insights with a seamless data integration capabilities and accelerated decision making capabilities. So let's get started. Lakehouse Federation best practices. Here is the agenda for today's session. First, we are going to introduce about what is Lakehouse Federation. Then we will understand the benefits of Lakehouse Federation, and then how it is different with other tools, which almost serve the similar kind of purpose. So there might be some confusion in users' minds that whether I should use Lakehouse Federation or other tools. So that is why we will discuss about comparison with other tools. What are the limitations of Lakehouse Federation, and then we will set up the Lakehouse Federation, and then we will jump to a demo. Okay, so now let's understand what is Lakehouse Federation. Lakehouse Federation is a feature in Azure Databricks, and this feature is used for querying the data which is coming from multiple sources, whether it is a SQL Server, whether it is a SQL Synapse, Microsoft Synapse, or whether it is coming from Oracle. So there are different sources, and this feature helps you to query this data coming from different sources. So it is something like if you want to read a book from multiple libraries, but you don't want to move this, you don't want to really move yourself. You want to just read the book coming from different libraries. So what will you do? You will remotely log into that library and read it. So similarly, the Lakehouse Federation is a concept where you remotely query the databases which is actually kept outside the Databricks, and then get the insights from it. How it is used? It is built on Unity Catalog, which is for unified metadata management. So that means it is actually creating a metadata for the external metadata, and there it is trying to query the data. Okay, so what are the benefits of using Lakehouse Federation? So there are these scenarios where you can use Lakehouse Federation, and this tool can be very helpful. So one example is quick report. Suppose you want to create a quick report from a data coming from different places which is not in Lakehouse. That means your data is coming from Synapse or Microsoft SQL Server, but you want that data in your report, and that report you want to create in Lakehouse. So that way you can create a quick report. You want to test some idea, and while testing the idea you want to test the concept on that data which is coming from various sources which is external to your Lakehouse. You want to explore a new data, and this exploring a new data, whether this data is resides outside your Lakehouse, but before you integrate this data you want to explore this data and then integrate this data. So that is why it can be very helpful. You want to do the smooth transition, which means that you want to work in a data coming from multiple places, and during these transitions you want to make sure that the transition is smooth. So before you do that you will test that with the Lakehouse Federation. Lakehouse Federation comparison with other tools. So in this case we are going to discuss about the different features, and in these features we will compare it with the Lakehouse Federation, and then delta sharing, Unity Catalog external table, and legacy query federation. What are the difference between these? So Lakehouse Federation supports sharing the data with external system that do not support delta sharing. Okay, while in case of delta sharing, it requires that external support share the delta sharing, and Unity Catalog external table does not support the sharing data with external system. Okay, and then legacy query, it require some configuration of the connection to each table separately. So this is a difference in the data sharing. Now data governance perspective, data governance tools such as row and column level access control, discovery feature like tags and data lineage, they are supported in Lakehouse Federation, but these features are not supported in any of these tools. Similarly, query pushdown is supports it is supported by Lakehouse Federation, but it is not supported by any of these tools. And then there are some use cases where the Lakehouse Federation is most suitable. Like most important use cases when you need to share the data with external systems, but you do not, but those systems do not support the delta sharing, or when you need to run complex queries on external data and improve the performance of these queries. So that is where your use case comes for Lakehouse Federation. But in case of delta sharing, when you can share the data file directly, such as with cloud-based data lakes, so there the delta sharing will be coming handy. For Unity Catalog external table, this is required when you have your data coming from a sample file system like Amazon S3, Google Cloud Storage, or Azure Data Lake Storage. In that case, your external table could be beneficial. And when legacy query federation, when you want to run your query against the external system that is not configured for Lakehouse Federation, or that means in if these two things does not work, then this will be the fallback plan. And that case you will use legacy query federation. Okay, so now we will understand what is the process of setting up the Lakehouse Federation. So first and foremost, first of all, it supports these databases like MySQL, PostgreSQL, Amazon Redshift, Snowflake, Microsoft SQL Server, Azure SQL Data Warehouse, or Databricks. Now, what are the steps involved in setting it up? First of all, you will create a connection, and that connection will be connected to the data external data source. You will create a foreign catalog, and that foreign catalog will be linked to this connection, which is external connection, and then you will query the data from the Azure SQL database. So suppose in this case we are using Azure SQL database, so we will use this against the Azure SQL database. Okay, so now let's understand what are the limitations of Lakehouse Federation, and then we will jump to a demo. So first of all, it is a read-only querying from external catalog. That means you cannot write any data to the external catalog directly. And there is a cap on simultaneous query. That means you cannot simultaneously concurrently query that database or external database. And some queries which it connects to the external database, they are not fully optimized. That means they might be running slow because it depends upon the database where it is capturing the data and connecting it. And then current release does not support OAuth. If suppose your data source supports OAuth, then the current release does not support the OAuth. Okay, so now let's jump to a demo where I'm going to set up the Lakehouse Federation, and I will show you how the query is running in the Lakehouse Federation. So first and foremost, we are going to create a external data connection. So we will come here in the data and then go to external data, and then here we will go to connections and then create connection. So for creating a connection, we'll put a name of the connection, and then we'll put a connection type. So in this case, I'm going to put the SQL Server, and then username of the SQL Server and password of the SQL Server, and then the host name. Host name is a name which will be fully qualified name, host name, where the SQL Server is hosted. And then we are going to put create. So for that, actually I have given all the instructions in my blog. You can go through it, but since I have already created this connection, I'm not going to create it again. So in my case, when I created a SQL connection, this was my demo federated database created, and this is my host name, demo fed database.windows.net, and this is a port 1433. So this is already created and I'm not going to create it again. Now coming to, once our connection is created, I always recommend you to create a connection with the help of this wizard which I just shown you, this one, because when you create a connection with the wizard, it actually tests the connection so that you don't have to struggle with the troubleshooting steps. It will automatically do it. Then comes the next step, which is a foreign catalog. So for that you will come here, create catalog, and in this case I have created a foreign catalog which is here, SQL catalog, and this catalog is actually connecting to my SQL server which is kept in the SQL server. So how do we create this catalog? Let's come back again here, create catalog, and in catalog name you will put a catalog name, and then you will put a foreign catalog name. Type in the type, you will put a foreign catalog, and then you will put a connection because you already created a connection last time. So we are going to use SQL connection as a connection, and then the database name you need to put, and then create. So since I have already created it, and these steps are given in my blog, so don't worry, these screenshots are given in my blog. You can go through that blog, and then once this is created, then what we will do, we will come here, and as a third step we are going to run this query. So because we have created a SQL catalog, and we have we will use that schema, sales LT schema in that. So I'll show you the SQL server which I have created, and then I will show you how do we use this. So here you can see that this is my demo fed, and this is my demo database, and this is what I am actually using. And if I come here, this is my SQL database which is a demo SQL database, and this one I'm using this server name. So once this server name is done, then what I will do, I will use the same credentials while creating this. So now my SQL server connection is created, my foreign catalog is created. Now let's use this catalog. So for that, what I have done, I have actually made sure that all the connections coming from Databricks to the SQL server is not blocked. So for that I have done a set firewall rule. In the set firewall rule, I have set up the connection coming from all the IP addresses to all the IP addresses opened. This is not a good practice, but if you know the particular IP addresses, you always restrict those particular IP addresses here. Okay, so just for the sake of demo I have opened everything, but you should not do it. So once that is done, then it is very easy. You can just use the catalog. So in this case, this is a catalog name and this is a schema name, and then I am just checking whether I have changed the schema name or not. Yes, when I say select current schema, it shows that this is a current schema. And then when I select star from sales TV, immediately it queries the data coming from SQL server and shows it here. So this data is coming from SQL server. It is not copied from SQL server. It is remotely queried, and then this data is showing here. So this is a true example of a Lakehouse Federation. Okay, so with this, what we have done, we have created a connection to remote data source, which is SQL server in our case, created a foreign catalog, and then start querying that foreign database with the help of Lakehouse Federation. Now let's see. Okay, so in conclusion, Lakehouse Federation bridges the gap between the data lake and data warehouses, and this is a very transformative solution for businesses where we have a data coming from diverse sources, different data sources. It has its own potential benefits, but at the same time it has its own limitations, which we have just discussed. And this can be a very indispensable tool in your belt for your journey towards the data excellence. Thanks for watching, and do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you